Hi, everybody. Welcome. Welcome to another episode of Most Things Hypnosis. I am your host, Ilah Brock, live at 5 on Thursdays. Today's going to be just a little bit of a different kind of show. And first, before I start, I want to offer my condolences to the servicemen and women who lost their lives in a tragic suicide bombing in Kabul today. My heart goes out to them. I'm fighting back tears right now. But I just want you to know my prayers and the prayers of millions are out with you and your families. And I'm just so saddened by this tragic event. And I just wanted to share that. Okay, so now we're going to continue. How do I follow that one, right? Okay, now we're going to continue our show so I don't cry. I'm going to do things a little bit different today. I do have a returning guest from last week, my dear friend Paul Marshall. He was a guest last week. He's the one that was discussing some trials and tribulations of the dating saga of online dating. And you can watch that at the centralvalleytalk.com YouTube site and just look up Most Things Hypnosis, and all of my episodes are there. So Paul approached me last week and asked if he could do a segment with me and co-host with me just to convey to my viewers more about who I am and what I do. Thank you, Patty. I want to do a quick shout out. So this is a part one of a two-part series. The second part will be in a few weeks. The holistic modalities, if you will, of what I do and why I do what I do, and etc. And Paul's got some questions he wants to ask me. So today we're going to address things like what is hypnosis, what is hypnotherapy, what's a hypnotherapist, and etc. And how can a hypnotherapist help someone with their issues. And then if we have time, we can get into other areas that I'm certified in. For now, I want to welcome again my very good friend, Paul Marshall. Paul, thank you so much for coming back on the show today.
You know what? Last week was a lot of fun.
It
was
was.
one of those topics that's near and dear to my heart. So, yeah, I appreciate that. And thank you for having me back.
Oh, it's great.
You know,
Did I have a choice in the headlock that you put
Well,
me
you know
in?
that and the money I paid you. I mean, we won't talk about it.
Okay.
But, it was awesome. And, I love the energy in the room.
Oh, no, it's great.
So, congratulations. Your show continues to move forward and
It does.
more better ratings. So, that's awesome.
Yes.
And
So you had a plan today. I'm going to put this kind of back on you a little bit. Let's dive in and let's get started. What are we talking about today?
Well, you know what? As we discussed, I want to help move the show forward, and I think it's more directed at the public. There's a lot of mystique and misunderstanding about what hypnosis is, and is it effective, and is it right for everybody? So, kind of break it down a little bit, and I think we should start with just basically what is hypnosis. Give us a 101 on
A
it.
101 on hypnosis. It's actually a heightened state of awareness. We're in and out of hypnosis at least twice a day, more often than not. Sometimes if you're driving down the freeway or the road and you kind of miss your exit, and you end up at home, you're like on autopilot. Oh, that's a form of environmental hypnosis. Just before you wake up in the morning, just before you go to sleep at night, that is a hypnosis. You're entering that theta delta wave at that time. It's a kind of hypnosis. However, when you do get into the delta wave of sleep, you cannot be hypnotized. You're asleep. Your subconscious mind's doing its job at that point. But when you're in a heightened state of awareness, you're awake, you're in control, you're aware, you're actually hyper aware. So sounds might be amplified, mostly is what's going to happen. So everything just seems distortion of time. So like today I had a client and I had her in hypnosis for 21 minutes. When she came out and we were done with the session, I asked her, how long did that look and feel like? And she goes, I don't know, about 5 minutes. So she thought it was 5 minutes. It was actually 21 minutes. So, and that happens often. And that's just part of the whole hypnotic experience. And it's a very safe, organic modality that we do every day. Reading a book, you're so engrossed and you're oblivious to everything around you. Watching a movie and you're again oblivious. If you're zoned in on a project and nothing, I make jewelry, and so when I'm in jewelry mode, and I'll sit there for hours and not even think about it, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, life happened today. So hypnosis is a very organic, natural way of just our being.
Well, give me a little more insight on what hypnotherapy is, and does it work for everybody?
It absolutely can work for everybody. Hypnotherapy is a serious process of self-improvement. I work with vocational, avocational self-improvement. So, and that kind of segues into what is a hypnotherapist, if you don't mind. And I'm a behavior enhancer. So basically, everything we do is a behavior. Whether you overeat or you smoke or you any bad habit, or if you're in anxiety, the behavior of anxiety, that's kind of, I help you change that behavior by suggestions dropped into a relaxed state of mind in your subconscious mind. And we've already discussed what those suggestions are in an actual session.
So, what are some of the things when they come to you that will increase their odds for receiving the suggestions and being helped?
So when someone comes to me, first of all, they're coming to me because they need help. Usually it's kind of like the last straw. They may have gone to see psychotherapists or asked friends or done other counseling, etc. And so by the time they get to me, it's almost like a last resort. The number one reason why somebody will come and see me, and we'll address this later, is smoking. And they've already tried the patch, they've tried the Chantix, they've tried cold turkey, etc., and they've just not been able to. So when they get to me, now they're ready. They're walking in my office in a state of trance already, just because they're desperate. They want to get rid of whatever this issue is, and I help them create a new issue.
I know that you have a great success rate, but what increases or what would decrease somebody's of
Odds.
not being able to receive the suggestions
They
or the help that they're looking for? What attitude or
Yeah, they have to understand that they're coming because they want help. So they have to believe that they're going to get help. This is where I'm going to go. There's hypnosis. It's going to help me change my behavior. Now, that doesn't say I'm doing anything to somebody. It's saying that I am helping you, working with you. So you have to be a participant. So the best chances you're going to have is coming in with an open mind. Even many people who come in, they're scared to death. They don't know what this is. They have so much doubt. So after a little bit of conversation, they've gotten into a relaxed state, and I've kind of overloaded them a little bit, and they love it. I had one client a couple of years ago. She did not believe in it. Well, actually, two did not believe in it at all. I offered them free sessions. This is during my clinical hours, and once they were like, I'm a believer. This is so cool. They had no idea it wasn't going to be scary, because all they thought about, but they were open. They were willing, even in their nervous state, they were open. They just were willing and open-minded to just let be what's going to happen, because it's very safe. Everything that I do with the client, it's safe. And then there's the door. They can just walk away.
awesome. So, how can this help somebody with some issues? Hypnotherapy, hypnosis, on specific issues. What can they achieve when they're done with their sessions?
They can achieve success. That's the goal. And it's a process. Sometimes it's a one and done thing. I've had people come in. One client came in years ago with, she drank wine every night and she vaped on her vapor, but she was pregnant. So it's like she doesn't want to drink or be on her vape while she was pregnant. She just wanted to stop. And I'm like, okay. So I wasn't sure. I was still new. But I didn't know I didn't know exactly how. I'm just looking up at the universe. How are you going to help me? So it was so cool. After we were done with the session, and I do record all the hypnotic portions of my session, I didn't hear from her again. I had no idea if it was helpful. She didn't reach back out. 6 months later, she sent me a text. Hey, my mom needs to come and see you for sugar addiction. Great. Oh, and by the way, I haven't touched wine or my vape. So for her, it was one and done. And by then she was almost 7 months pregnant. And I was so happy to hear that. It's just communication kind of thing. So you don't know where the client's at. I'm just going to meet you where you're at. So if somebody comes in who's a raging alcoholic, they know it, I know it. I'm not even going to address it if they want to see me for their nail biting. I'm going to meet you where you're at. I'm not going to judge. It's whatever it is you want to work on. Sometimes people come in and they don't even know what they want to work on. We just start talking and we come up with a plan.
Working together, understand what their issues are, and then direct it. Perfect.
Exactly.
Well, I know there's a lot of different ways you can help people, but what are the main, say, the top three reasons people would come to see you for help? What are
The
top
top three, someone will come and see a hypnotist, will be smoking, as I said earlier, quit smoking, which I have, and I'm humbly boasting, an 80% success rate. And the other 20% are just people that aren't ready. Weight loss. I have a wonderful weight loss program, and we just learn to change behavior and how you view food and how you view yourself. It starts with a 9-week program. It can go on from there, but we start with the basic 9-week program, and then the third one, top one, is anxiety. People will come and see me, and there's anxiety in all of these. It's kind of funny when I work with a smoker who's smoking menthol cigarettes, and I say, okay, we're going to prepare you to quit, and you can't smoke menthol cigarettes anymore. Their anxiety level shoots through the roof, like before I finish saying the sentence. Something about menthol cigarette smokers that just, they get really bent out of shape because they have to quit their menthol.
So how would you help somebody with that? Because it's obviously going to create
It's
a lot of
exactly.
anxiety.
So what I do, we help with anxiety, but I give them a tool. I have these little chew sticks. They're by Thursday Plantation. I should have brought pack in. They're little toothpicks. They're treated with tea tree oil. You can get them at the vitamin shop or whatever, and they come in mint or cinnamon. So I give them a pack. It's mint, especially if I know here's your menthol. You can suck on these instead of a cigarette. You got to change your brand, and I tell them what brand to change to, instead of if they're going through a process of learning how to quit, titrating down from their nicotine addiction.
Awesome. Well, I was looking over this sheet, and 145 different ways hypnosis can be effective and help you. And it starts with abandonment and goes all the way down to writer's block and literally everything in between.
Yeah,
So
it's great.
people that have just a magnitude of different issues, you have a lot of different programs and how to focus and deal with their issues and
Exactly.
help them overcome them.
One of the things that I do, I am not in competition with any other hypnotherapist, because we all have our niches. If somebody comes to me and they want to know about hypnobirthing, they're pregnant and they want a hypnobirth, I'm not certified in that. I can do it, but I'm not certified in it. I don't have the training for that. I can be a coach. I was trained in that, but I am going to refer you to somebody who can help. I've had people, my second language is sign language, so I can work with deaf, but I don't speak Spanish. I have a lot of people who want somebody who speaks their language. I will refer them out. Ukraine, Russian, Spanish, whatever the language. I have a huge list of people that I can refer them to, and it's just a referral. It's almost like we all share in this big, huge, wonderful family of hypnotherapists, and if I can't help them, I found somebody who can. I'll send them that way.
Well, one of the things I was thinking about, in any trade, there's people that are good and then there's people in the trade.
Yeah.
What makes a good hypnotherapist? What makes a success in your trade?
Heart. It's got to be heart. Anybody can be book smart and learn it through a book, and you can. I know some people, hypnotherapists who are now certified hypnotherapists. They study, they went on YouTube, and anybody can do it. But how do you get good? You have to find a good program. And I'm going to be a little boastful. The school I went to, which is in Tarzana, Hypnosis Motivation Institute, aka HMI, just because they're the only school I have ever found. And the director hired me for a summer a few years ago to look for hypnotherapy schools around the world. And not one, it was over 150 schools. Not one of them had the .edu, were accredited at all. And HMI, so far as I found, is the only accredited school specifically for hypnotherapy, and they're in Tarzana, and they're worldwide now because of the corona. They went Zoom live now, but it's like they're intense. The minimum is 720 hours, and you have 12 months to do it, and you can tack on more than that. At the time when I graduated, I had almost 1,300 hours. And since then, and all the extended education that I've had, I'm boasting over 3,000 hours of education in 4.5 years that I've learned to become what I do. And here's the thing, Paul, I'm passionate about it. You know me, when I get started, I don't stop. I just keep going, and I love talking about it. I love helping people. When my partner, Mike, when he hears me on the phone with the client potential, he just leaves the room. He's like, she'll be on the phone 15 minutes, and he just hears my passion. He'll say, man, you really love what you do, don't you? You just know people just really enjoy it. Some people get into it not knowing what they're getting into. I didn't either, but man, I just went with it. This is my calling. Is like my only regret. I didn't do it 30 years ago.
Well, coulda,
I
shoulda,
know,
wouldas. We all
right?
have a list of
But I have
those.
30 years of life left in me. I'm going to do everything I can to help everybody I can.
Well, I think when you have that joy and that focus in your life to do better, you will also,
Yeah,
pass that on to your clients as well. So
exactly.
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's always improving myself too. I see my hypnotherapist. I have 5 of them that I use a few times a year. So a good hypnotherapist will see a hypnotherapist, in my opinion.
Do
Just
they need to see hypnotherapists after you see them?
well, probably so. Yeah, I
Probably.
would
All
think.
right.
I'm a tough case.
Well, one thing I was thinking is on the general public right now, we start seeing more commercials and more that are focused on helping people because with COVID, people are now more trapped inside. There's
Yeah.
less activities to do outside. There's less places to go. We do have restaurants that are open, but the masking and all that. And it seems like more people seem to be in a rut these days and kind of be in this area because it's an unknown. It's being more shut down. We're having more rules and regulations and should you get the shot and shouldn't you get the shot and
Exactly. The pressures.
so if somebody's in a rut, how could you help them?
Well, first of all, I'm going to find out what kind of a rut they're in. And usually what I'm seeing is anxiety. The anxiety of side effects from the shot, just anxiety. And I have a beautiful journey that has been so far foolproof. When I help a client, how do you want to feel if you don't want anxiety? What's the opposite of it? And they'll give me their positive words. Some will say calm, happy, joyful, tranquil, peaceful, whatever. Okay, fine. I'll use their words since they thought it, they said it, and when you say it, you hear it. Now I'm going to feed it back to them in hypnosis. Your subconscious mind's going to be like, "Oh, I've heard that before. Okay, we can take it into a known. All right, I accept that. Cool." And then it becomes every time. It's like after I get them up out of hypnosis and I take in a deep breath. How do you feel? I feel great, or relaxed, or they were looking for happy. Wow. And I record it so now they can listen to that same one over and over again for daily reinforcement. So glad we have that technology. It's great. It's an opportunity to just help them. And so far, I have probably in anxiety several hundred clients, and none of them have said it didn't work. Not one has ever come back and said, nope, it didn't work.
Well, that's awesome.
I love that. I mean, maybe they were at a 10 or a 9 when they came in on a scale, and maybe they didn't get down to the 1, but they're not at a 9 or a 10 anymore. And then I have other modalities that can help them also reduce their anxiety. Where is it caused? So maybe we have to go to cause. Then we can check that out and look for that avenue on where the cause is, that they're what's causing their anxiety.
So there's got to be a lot of talk before you ever get even into the part of the hypnosis part.
Oh yeah, when a client comes in on a first session, it's 2 to 2.5 hours.
Wow.
A good 45 minutes, 50 minutes of that is just me Q&A with the client, just talking to them, getting to know them, building rapport, and letting them know that there is hope. Absolutely hope. When I saw my hypnotherapist the first time, I left there like on cloud 9. I had no idea that I could feel, that I was even allowed to feel that good. That was even possible. I had never felt that before. It was a physical feeling. I mean, I felt this like demons leaving my body. It was so
Satan, you're
like,
gone.
I know, right? It was
Right.
like,
Ooh,
it was
I had
amazing.
a mother-in-law like that.
Okay.
But besides that,
Yeah, ex-mother-in-law.
yeah.
Be single, ladies.
So you mentioned other modalities that you're certified in. Elaborate on that, please.
Well, I am
what
a
are they?
practitioner for EFT, which is Emotional Freedom Technique. And it's working with the electrical meridians because we have electricity that runs through our body. And sometimes in these meridians, they get clogged. Did you know emotions can live in your body? They can get stuck. All emotions can have to move. It's the energy in motion. Emotions have to move. So the motion, it's like a bird flying through the air, through the sky. You are the sky, and the bird is the emotion. Does the sky trap the bird? No. The bird just flies through. That's how our emotions need to process through our bodies. And sometimes we oppress them. I don't want to deal with that issue. So we just ignore it and we oppress it and it just buries itself and it gets stuck and it can create pain. Usually anger and pain go hand in hand. It can create anxiety, depression, a whole bunch of different malaise, different issues. How do you get rid of it? Well, one of the modalities, I'm a practitioner, advanced practitioner for EFT, and it's the tapping. I help you, and we tap. We tap the crap is what we kind of say. There's 10 tapping points that I work with the client. I teach you how to do it. I'll even do free seminars if you're interested, if you have at least 5 or 6 people, either online or in person in Visalia, where my office is. Teach you how to do EFT. Once you learn it, I mean, you got it. You can't do it wrong. And it starts to open up those meridians where you're kind of stuck. So think of these big circles that are this flowing electricity, and there's this zzz, and it can't go past. So now you've got this little blockage, but this is going, and maybe it's stuck, and it might be stuck wherever it is. You have them going on both sides of your body, and they just go through, and it's the electrical impulses, if you will. And it's been around for 5,000 or 6,000 years, and it was developed the way I learn it now by an amazing trainer. His name is Gary Craig. You can look him up and learn more about EFT that way too. EFT should be taught in school, and I know some schools, at least in other countries, have been working on teaching children tapping. Just they need to learn how to do it correctly. Just what it is you're doing and why you're doing it. Because we talk during the tapping. We talk. We get a scale of 0 to 10. If your issue is, really severe, we're on anxiety. Whenever I think about my ex, you're at a 10. All right, let's see if we can process you by tapping down to a 9. We tap some more down to an 8. We just go through the process until we get you like down to a 1 or 2 or even a 0. And it can happen in 20 minutes or an hour. The lady who trained me, amazing woman, she'd been born with club feet. She had fibromyalgia. She'd been in pain her whole life. So in her late mid-40s, she learned about this. She spent 2 hours tapping on herself, and she, for the first time in her life that she could remember, she was painless. She's like, I got to know more about this. Vietnam vets who have horrible PTSD, you bring them in, you teach them the EFT, I kid you not, 30 minutes, they're going to be smiling. It's an amazing modality, just clearing the crap, just making sure that your meridians and your electrical impulses are flowing freely. And anytime you feel stuck, you just tap. I'm tapped in the middle of the night. I can't sleep and I'm in anxiety. I've got, an appointment or a meeting I might be nervous about. I'll just lay there and just, okay, I don't like this anxiety. This doesn't feel good. Now let's just start tapping on all the points. About 10 or 15 minutes and I fall asleep. It's just pretty amazing.
So what's the significance of the tapping? What does the tapping represent?
Tapping
Does that trigger your mind?
Well,
or?
it's pressure points. Or acupressure, since I'm not qualified to do acupuncture, you can actually go to an acupuncturist and have a similar experience. This is quicker. Acupuncturists, I highly recommend them too. But this is tapping points. I don't know what they all relate to some part of your body. Like this, around the cheek here, this pressure point has to do with your stomach. And I actually have a sheet that I can give to clients to show them where all the tapping points and what body parts. To me, it's not critical to know that. I just tap on all of them, so I get everything kind of thing. And I'm, each tapping point, but they're pressure points and they're specific. So I usually use 3 fingers and I tap right here on the eye, right here. I tap right at the eye pupil, right below it. If I go 3 fingers, then I know I'm right on the pressure point, right under the nose, on the chin, right here on that little notch on the bone area. You want to tap usually 5 to 7 times. I also tap just below the arm. I know this looks weird. You're going to tap here, up underneath the breast, straight down up underneath, on your wrist. You're going to tap, or you can tap, it doesn't, and then on your head. I know it looks funny, but I promise you it actually works. You feel great.
Feel like a dog and good boy.
Yeah, good boy. Right.
Yeah, there you go.
But we do dialogue when you're tapping. There's a dialogue that you work on. You start with the negative so that you can acknowledge there's emotions. There's negative emotions living here in my body. I need to acknowledge them so they can process. They have never been processed. People go decades. I had a situation myself. I couldn't sleep for 45 years. A couple hours here, a couple hours there. I didn't know. I thought it was genetic. And I was talking to my hypnotherapist, and let me see if we can work on hypnosis with better sleep. So while I was in hypnosis, and he made a recording. I've only listened to it the one time, and I remember thinking while I was under, why I couldn't sleep anymore, and I just became very angry because of a situation that happened when I was a child, and now 45 years later, I'm like, oh my gosh, I wish I had known then. So I spent 4 days just processing this emotion, this anger I had, so much old anger I didn't even know existed. Then I went back to see him again, and we released it with another technique called the release. You can release the emotion. I no longer, it doesn't serve me. I'm not going to keep it. And 20 minutes later, and I sleep great now, unless, I have something bothering me. Usually it's my business, because, I am self-employed, and so there's always some struggle with, getting started, etc. But typically I sleep fine. It's so good because I can sleep 3 or 4 hours now and not wake up. Part of that's age, I think, too. The melatonin starts to leave our brain as we get older. But yeah, tapping is, and releasing the emotion. So if you have emotion, process it. I don't want to feel sad. I know, neither do I. So just let it be. Just live in it for the few minutes that it needs to process. You have grief and you're sad. That's like the worst emotion, in my opinion, sadness. Oh, I don't like it. So I'd rather be angry, but it's sadness. So I'm like, I feel sad. I don't like feeling sad. Just process it. Just, I had lost a friend a couple of years ago. You were with me, and I was very sad, but I processed that. You have to go through the grief process, but I'm going to process this as quickly as I can. I got to go through. I got to keep going, because you can live in that sadness or that grief for a really long time. I know people decades later, they're still in grief. They just can't seem to get over it. Let it go. Let the tears flow. Just let your body process it and let it go. You can start to feel better. And I feel great.
Awesome. Well, you mentioned recordings. Now, is there something you said you give to most of your clients, all of your clients?
All of my clients get a hypnotic.
Are there certain times of the day that makes it more successful? Is there certain practices or certain things you can do to enhance it?
What I do, I want them to develop a routine. Now, before I sought my hypnotherapy, I didn't have routine. I was kind of, and I still will fly by the seat of my pants willy-nilly, but I like a routine. So what I suggest is, if their day is just like a normal day, they wake up in the morning, if they go to work or whatever, wake up 30 minutes earlier and listen to the recording before you start your day. To me, it just kind of sets the day. And the reason I don't suggest it before you go to sleep is because in that recording, I have 0, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, eyes open, wide awake at the very end of the recording. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, eyes open, wide awake. And I'm waking them up. So if they're trying to go to sleep with it, because it is very relaxing, they're just going to get woke up. Now, I can do a sleep recording. And if you do contact me, I will email you a free sleep recording I made. I'm happy to do that. Just that one does not wake you up. Put the headphones on, so that you don't have any ambient outside noises. You want to use headphones. And you want to just be in a very, not supine. You don't want to be laying down, because it's associated with sleep. So what your goal is to just be reclined, maybe if you have a recliner, or just lay on the couch, or just prop yourself up if you're in bed. I don't recommend being in bed, but if you could just prop yourself up enough, like a 45-degree angle, and just a very safe, comfortable place. Put your headphones on, listen to the recording, and just go with it as if you're in session again. You're just going to be put right back into that hypnotic state again. You'll get used to my voice. And even those of you that are my clients watching this, probably getting into hypnosis now, aren't you? Kind of thing. So anyway, that mornings is my best suggestion. Some can't. They have to wait till 2 in the afternoon. Okay. You can listen to it 10 times a day. That's fine too. I'm a hypno junkie. There's nothing wrong with listening to it more often, and the more often sessions you have, the more recordings you have. I have dozens of recordings from my hypnotherapist, and I can listen to them anytime, as often, sometimes all one after another if I wanted to. There's no addiction, and if you're going to be addicted to anything, hypnosis is it, because it's organic. So I'm a junkie on hypnosis.
No drugs required.
No drugs required, exactly. My drug of choice, water, my anti-anxiety.
So you know what? If I was coming into your office and say I had a smoking issue, walk me through, or what are the steps? What are you going to do? What's the what questions are you going to ask?
Okay.
The hypnosis part of it, and
Okay.
then what can I see that's going to be results? How do I know it's working?
Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is have a phone consult with you over the phone to see if you're even ready. I'm going to talk to you on the phone. So on the phone, we can do a little role play. Are you ready to quit?
Well, everybody's going to say yes
Yeah.
because they called you.
Yeah.
But how do you know if they're really not?
Well, I'm going to say, are you really ready? Because I don't want you to waste your time or your money.
How do you know if they're really ready?
Well, they're going to tell me yes. I'm going to take them at their word. So then I'm going to start asking them questions. So, how long have you been smoking? Oh, about 45 years. Okay. And how many cigarettes a day do you smoke? Oh, pack and a half. That's cluing me in on something I'll get to in a minute. So you got 45 years, pack and a half. Have you been smoking a pack and a half a day for those 45 years? Well, pretty much, yeah. Maybe more sometimes. Okay, got an average. What brand do you smoke? And the brand they smoke also has clue to me. If they're smoking Marlboro Reds, which has a very high nicotine rate, they're taking in a lot of nicotine and they're now smoking for an addiction. There's 3 reasons why people smoke: addiction, habit, and coping. Some people will just get a cigarette just to cope with whatever's going on in their life. They're stressed. They're going to grab a cigarette. Okay, fine. Now I know why they're smoking. I'm going to ask them about their behavior. When do you smoke? First thing in the morning? Some yes, some no. Okay. Do you smoke with coffee? Yes. Okay. Do you smoke? Do you smoke outside? Yes. Where? Do you have a chair and table set up? Yes, I do. Okay. Well, now we're going to prepare you to quit. So maybe they're coming in to see me a week later. That will be my suggestion, especially if they're smoking 30 cigarettes a day. I'm going to have them taper off between now and then. And I'm going to start changing their behavior. And we're going to get into the behavior changing in just a minute. But I'm going to tell them, okay, get rid of the table and chair out front or out wherever you have your setup, your smoking perch, whatever. Get rid of it. Put it away. If you're going to smoke, you got to do it near the trash cans, someplace uncomfortable. Do you smoke with coffee? Oh, yeah, got to have my coffee. Well, fine. You can have your coffee and you can have your cigarette. You can never have them together again. Anything that you do with a cigarette, you can't do with the cigarette anymore. You got to do it separately because now you're going to change a behavior. You're going to let your subconscious mind know, because this goes into comfort zone and homeostasis. We have everything that's going to stay the same. This is what we do. We smoke. Nope, we can't. Nope, we're good. What are you doing? What? Well, okay, we're smoking. Okay, we're smoking. But now you're drinking your coffee and you don't have your cigarette with it. Subconscious mind's like, you're changing a behavior. Wait, what are you doing? You're having the coffee without the cigarette. Well, you're in control now. Subconscious mind's going to struggle with you, but that's okay. The struggle is your evidence that things are starting to work, because it wants to stay on baseline. Baseline is what we call homeostasis, the most powerful word in behavioral science, as I'm told. Homeostasis, a term coined back in the 1930s by Conrad. Is this William Conrad? I think was his name. He was a physiologist.
I think Gandhi said it.
No,
that's
not
all right.
Gandhi. No.
Go ahead.
That's the other lifetime.
Okay.
Okay. So anyway, but you have this where comfort zone. So think of your mind as this big circle, and 88% of it is your subconscious mind, and 12% is your conscious mind. Well, that 88% controls the show. When we breathe, our physiology, how we blink our eyes. If you work out and your body gets hot, what does it do, Paul? Your body gets hot, it will perspire and sweat. Do you tell it to?
No.
No, it just does it automatically. Subconscious mind automates everything. Everything about you. Now we have that sense of self, our life script that's within us. Now we have the psychology of our psyche that makes up our thinking, our belief system, who we hang with, who we don't hang with, the vibe that we live. We've got this sense of self, our life script, and it's here. This is baseline. I'm going to use money as an example, and we can relate it to smoking in a minute. So let's say your baseline is $20,000. Okay, I'm at $20,000, I feel good. But if you get below that, you start to get motivated, and you got to get it back up. But let's say it gets above 20,000. Comfort zone says 20,000. No, you're going to get lazy and procrastinate and sabotage anything above it until you get back down. Look at our lottery winners. How many of our lottery winners are broke more so than when they started and they won the lottery because their homeostasis had their baseline, whether it be $2 million or $150,000, whatever that baseline was in their mind, anything above it. Now they got $100 million, and the subconscious mind's going, "That's not where we live. We live here." No, 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 no. So obviously, if you're going to win that kind of money or get that kind of money, you need help. Get some counseling, get some financial counseling to control it so you can keep it. But now they're broke. You're always going to go back to base. And that was one of the things, like smokers. You're going to struggle with that. You're going to not smoke anywhere you've smoked before. If you smoke indoors, no more. If you smoke in your car, great. You can't smoke in your car. You got to stop, get out of your car, smoke your cigarette, get back in your car. You're just going to do everything different than what you did before. And that's part of that's on the consult call. And then that's the week. So if they've done those, if they're serious and they come in and see me and they've done those things, I know they're ready. That means they're actively participating in their change. And I very upfront, it's going to be a struggle. But that struggle is your evidence. You need to titrate down off the nicotine so that when you come in for the cessation appointment, you don't have the huge withdrawal. I'm also going to tell them they need to drink a lot of water. Like the first 3-4 days after you actually quit, your body has to rid itself of the nicotine. So you just need to flush it with water, lots and lots of water. Start carrying cases in your car if you have to. But yeah, you're going to have to go to the bathroom a lot. But you know what? Your kidneys will love you. Just flush it. So they come in and see me, and the first thing I'm going to do, cravings are going to be a part of it. How are we going to help the cravings? Cravings are just going to deal with them one at a time. Your behavior is already starting to change before I even put you in hypnosis. So I'm going to give them those chew sticks, like with the menthol smoker I talked about earlier. I'm going to give anybody who comes in for smoking these little chew sticks to use instead of, there's 100 of them. So it's like 5 packs of cigarettes. So every time you have a cigarette, chew stick. Another thing I'm going to suggest that they do if they get a craving is to drink a cup of chicken broth. And if you're vegetarian, vegetable broth works just fine. But the chicken broth, there's that tryptophan in the chicken or in poultry or whatever. It kind of calms you down, especially if you have sugar cravings too. I'm going to suggest you get snacks to chew on. Celery sticks, carrot sticks, cream
Yum.
cheese,
Well, my
No,
veggies.
you got to have the veggies, right? But the crunch will help. Taking a straw and cutting it to the size of a cigarette, this is a muscle memory. Right now, you just have a craving, and you just got to feel like you have to have a puff. Well, just puff on a straw. It's fine. It gives you that release because you're going to get a dopamine hit. Okay, and now your craving's gone. I'm also the recording is important. Water is important. Breathing is one of the most important things that you can do when you're going through a moment of craving, whether it's food or smoking, for example, or even anxiety. And it's the number one tool psychotherapists, psychologists will use, or anybody in mental health. It's the number one tool. Breathing is important. It's not just, it's deep diaphragmatic breathing in your gut. It's taking, so when you take in a breath and your shoulders raise, that's shoulder breathing. You want to breathe down here. And sometimes it's practice. It takes practice. But that's boring to sit there and breathe. Okay, fine, I'll breathe it through. Let's do something to make it fun. So I suggest a couple things. One, I'm sorry, I've got ink on my hand. So you're going to take one hand and stop whatever's in front of you. You're just stopping it. So now you've got the other hand at the bottom of the thumb. And every time your finger goes up, you're going to inhale through your nose. Cool the brain. Exhale through your mouth. And then every time your finger goes down, you exhale. You can go up and down your finger and come back again slowly. And now by the time you can do it once, you feel really good. You want to do it again. And you're calm. You're out of the craving. You're out of the desire to have a sweet or binge eat or whatever. It's gone. If that is not enough, I recommend the harmonica. I should have brought mine. The harmonica, you have to learn 10 holes, and you have to breathe in and out in order to make it work. I suggest getting a C harmonica. They're not real expensive. Go on YouTube, take a couple lessons. When you're in the car and you're in anxiety or you're by yourself, turn on some Eric Clapton or Jimmy Buffett or somebody who plays the harmonica, and just pretend to play along with them. Nobody ever has to hear you. It's fun. It's distracting. It's great breathing exercises. And next thing you know, 15 minutes into it, you're kind of like feeling really good. Breathing will, if you're intense, if you're in tension, because there's not enough oxygen going. So like if you have a leg cramp or something, breathe. I know it's hard. If it's like you have muscle contortions, breathe. When you start getting oxygen into those muscles, it relaxes the muscles. And it's like you can take and tighten your hand and get somebody to pinch it really hard, and it hurts when they pinch it really hard. But if you relax the hand and pinch it, it doesn't hurt. Right here, just like it's a little example of how that can help. So those are some of the when somebody comes in, I give them tools. Now in hypnosis, you were asking what do I do in the actual hypnosis part of someone who smokes? I am going to put them in hypnosis, very deep.
What does that mean? Tell me if I'm going into hypnosis, what does it mean?
There's different wavelengths. We have 5. Beta is your awake wavelength. If you're looking at your wavelengths in your brain waves, beta is the awake. That's what we're in right now. So the alpha wave is that relaxed state. That's where I'm going to take you. Theta is light sleep. And then the delta wave is your deep sleep. And then the gamma rays are the hypersensitivity. We don't get into that. Typically, I'm going to keep you above theta in alpha, right in those. How do I know you're there? Well, I'm going to know by a couple of things. Your facial muscles start to relax. You kind of look very angelic. Yes, if you want, I can take a picture of you too while you're in hypnosis if you'd like. So, but your facial muscles relax. I'm also looking at your eye movement, where your eyes are. I'm also going to, sometimes I'll check and just pick up your arm and just see if you're tense, if I pick it up. I've asked permission to touch. I'm just going to pick up your arm. And that also am working with an actual brainwave band. I'm working on the programming of it. So soon I'll be able to put my clients on an actual brainwave band so they can, like an EEG, so I can see where their brainwaves are going and be able to just, with words, allow them to go even deeper and even deeper. So it's just a question of just getting them used to me, conditioning them, learning how their subconscious mind takes in information. There's a couple of different ways. They take it in inferentially or literally. It's asking a question like, do you know what time it is, Paul? Do you know what time it is?
Daytime.
That's not what I asked.
Oh, you said what time is it?
I didn't ask you what time it was. I asked you, do you know what time it is?
Yes.
See, the question was a yes or no answer. Some people are just going to go look around. What time? No, I didn't ask what time it was. I asked, do you know? So there's 2 different ways people think. Well, there's actually 3, but the 2 most common, inferentially or literally. An inferential thinker doesn't like to be told what to do. And that's me, right? So in hypnosis, my hypnotherapist is going to talk to me in a more metaphorical way, roundabout. It's got to be my idea. I have to go along with it. And eventually, after I see them enough, I will start to catch on that my subconscious mind starts to enjoy it, and then they can talk to me any way they want. A literal thinker, if you will, or how they take in information, I can be very paternal, demanding instead of nurturing or motherly. So it's like they'll just do exactly, your hand's gonna, lift up your finger, okay, put it back down. With somebody who's inferential, you may have a tendency, a desire to swallow, maybe, perhaps. You decide. As long as they get to decide, then they can decide. So now they're in hypnosis, and now the fun begins for me. It's 30 minutes for a smoker, 27 to 35 minutes of hypnosis. And I start to make cigarettes so utterly disgusting in imagery. I do a lot of imagery, imagination, and that's what we work with hypnotherapy. Imagery, imagination, and emotions. And I create an image for them that's so sick. The word cigarettes is disgusting. When they see the color red, it becomes a reminder that they're smoke-free. And that becomes a new motivational force. It's now positive. It's very positive. We see red everywhere. Stop signs, stop lights, T-shirts, billboards, brake lights. You see them. So red is a very common color. So we take our red and we just kind of, I plant that in there. So every time they see it, it just becomes brighter, and they don't even realize it. They just become more motivated. They don't smoke. Oh, wow, where did this come from? Cigarette. The word disgusts them, the smell disgusts them. I take them into a real live situation in their mind as if it's actually happening. All the cigarettes they've ever smoked before. Just think about all the tar sticking on the walls into your skin. I just make it really disgusting.
Oh, yummy.
Yeah, they just, I have them imagine drinking all the chemicals that are in the cigarettes. It's pretty disgusting, and it's
Nice.
very effective. And they, I've had clients dry heave in my, the man who's the instructor, he certified me in smoking cessation with hypnotherapy. He had said that he's had clients dry heave. I was like, that's just hard to believe until I saw my clients. I'm like, oh dear, I hope he's not gonna, give me his cookies, kind of thing. So it's pretty disgusting, and they don't want any part of it. It's pretty amazing how it works.
Show up with a bib and a trash can, huh?
Well, pretty
Wow.
much, yeah.
Yeah.
But they're not smoking afterwards. I encourage them, bring in all your cigarettes, all your paraphernalia with you, and I'll help you through it.
Well, here's the thing I'm thinking. There's pills out there.
There are.
There's shots out there. There's patches out there to help people quit. Why would they choose hypnotherapy over
Over those?
the
Those-
easier ones? They can do it at home. I mean,
Yeah,
get a shot and,
They're giving them nicotine. Well, I'm removing it. I'm helping control and change the behavior. All the shots do, all the patches do, all the pills do, the gum. All it does is it reduces their nicotine to where now their body doesn't crave it. The habit's not gone. The habit's still there. So it's the addiction that they've had, that their bodies don't crave the nicotine anymore, but this is still there. The coffee with this is still there. I'm removing that. I'm separating that. If you're going to smoke, you're going to smoke separately from anything you've ever done before. Even before they come in to see me, they're going to just get rid of the cigarettes.
well, you mentioned about an 80% success rate.
Yes.
What do you think the percentage of success is with the patches and the pills and
You know what? I've
people
never
doing it on their
I-
own like that, not realizing?
I don't know that.
especially,
Yeah, I don't know what that percentage. I'm going to say in the 30 or 40 percentile.
Do you have people that's tried that and failed and
Yep.
now come to you?
Exactly, and that's exactly what happens. I've had people who have been prescribed the Chantix pill, I guess, the gum or whatever, and they come and see me. And I don't tell them to get off of it. I just say we're going to have to titrate off the nicotine. If I can get them down to 10 milligrams a day or less, they have a very high chance and very good success rate on just not smoking anymore after that day. So I have a one and done program with 2 follow-ups.
Well, that's awesome. You know what? Let's change the subject a little bit because I know we're kind of tight on time, but something I definitely is near and dear to me and I want you to talk about is the law of attraction.
Yes.
Now, what is it? Give me a little bit of insight from you on what you believe God, the universe, law of attraction, how does it work, and how do you increase your chances for success?
Okay, so law of attraction works whether you believe in it or not. It's the law of the universe, just like the law of gravity. It's there whether you like it or not, whether you believe in it or not, it doesn't matter. It's there. So if you, it basically the definition is what you think about, you manifest. So you've ever had that time somebody calls you and like, hey, I was just thinking about you. And it's funny you mentioned this right now because yesterday a friend of mine that used to live next door to me, she just texted me late last night, and it was like, I was just thinking about her yesterday and about her grandmother and her family and how they live next door. And then she texted me. That wasn't by accident. That wasn't just a coincidence. I don't believe in coincidence. That was the law of attraction. It was just, asking a friend, hey, do you know any single male or females that are, if I have a friend who might be single, I don't know that I'm asking, I'm just somebody I barely know. I might be asking that question to. And all of a sudden, because the relationship I have with somebody who might be looking for a partner, and I ask somebody else, well, do you know anybody that might relate to whatever? And now all of a sudden we've got this little attractive triangle going, and 2 people can meet that way. I don't know, whatever comes to mind. Law of attraction, negatively speaking, people who constantly worry about their bills. What do you get in the mail? Bills. What are you thinking about all the time? The bills. Been there. I'm always going to have bills. My rent's going to be due on the 1st every month. I can't change that. My car payment's due on the 26th. I can't change that. My electric bill's due on the 19th. I can't change that. Those bills and etc. are all going to come in every month, whether I worry about it or not. So why put energy into it? I know they get paid. So why am I going to put energy into it? Why don't I put energy into the idea about I'm receiving, let's work on monetary, receiving cash and income. I see my bank account. I'm living in it as if it's happening right now in my head, not in the past, because something that's happened in the past, subconscious mind and law of attraction doesn't have to work then. It will work for you. There's a show, it's on Netflix right now called The Secret. It's a documentary. It kind of like
Seen
the
it.
101 of the law of attraction. And there's now a second one. It's not magic. The words you think, it's how they affect you. So like the word deserve really affected me for years. And as I'm going through hypnotherapy training, deserve, what? Through law of attraction, I started believing that, you know what, I deserve happiness. I didn't realize that I deserved happiness. That made me cry. It's like, I deserve happiness and I just live in it. You know what? It's my appreciation. I am appreciative that my body now lives in a state of happy and positivity. I love it. It's like, I'm going to do some more of it because my bills are going to get paid. I don't worry about it. As a matter of fact, it was last month. Rent was coming up and my bank account was getting a little low, and I like to keep it at some sort of a base level, and I spent a day in worry. You know what? Wait, I can't do that. I'm just going to let it go. You know what? I am not going to be concerned about that because it's going to happen. There's always more. It's always going to be there. Oh, and you know what? It did. It happened. It was there. Law of attraction. I was talking to my partner, Mike, and we were standing in the kitchen. This was several months ago, and we walked out into the living room, and I was just like, okay, well, let's see, my rent is due. Well, I'm going to have to law of attraction some money in. And no sooner did I say the word money, and my phone dinged, and I had some back unemployment that hadn't been paid. And right at that moment, he was standing right there. I said it, my phone dinged, and $900 right there. It's like, of course, don't be surprised when good things happen that you're thinking about.
Can you talk to my phone when you get home tonight, please?
Well,
'Cause
okay,
I need you to-
yeah, just make that happen. Oh, I mean, it would have happened maybe anyway, but it was just kind of cool. At that moment, it happened. I'm like, that's pretty cool. And it's anytime. I know people that just, whatever they think about, it just materializes. I know people who also think about it bitter. They have a bitter heart. They have a bitter soul. They're just bitter inside. They're always in pain. They're always angry. They never have enough money. Well, that's just where they live. You will be successful in that because that's where you are. Because if you want prosperity, happiness, and success, you're going to have it. And if you don't have it, it's because you don't want it. Yeah, how you want this? Okay, live in it. It's not happening out here in your everyday world. That's fine. Just live in it. But what happens, watch out, subconscious mind homeostasis, it's that little booger. It's going to protect what it knows. It will defend what you've always lived in. I've lived in poverty. I've lived in unhappiness. I've lived in misery. Why do I need to change? It doesn't care if it's good or bad, right or wrong. It doesn't care if it's good for you or not good for you. It doesn't care. What it does is defends it. It's not judging you. Fact, fantasy, right? It doesn't matter. It's just going to protect what it knows. This is what we know. We know misery. We know broke. We know, unhappy. We know just living in that bad relationship. This is what we know. This is what I'm going to live in. This is it. And now you're making a conscious change, 12% change to affect this 88% pull. But if you live in it as if it's happening 3 times a day for 10 minutes, just focus on that. I am in it. And just make it up. Just use your imagination. Even whether it comes true or it doesn't matter. You can reverse engineer anything. So you take your goal. I'm just going to put this on here. You can see my little, I don't know if you can see. There's a circle here and a circle here with a line in the middle. On the left side is today. This is your goal right here. So take your goal that you desire. I want to, like a hypnotherapist who might be watching this, I want 10 clients a week. That's your goal. And what is now your goal? You're watching it in your mind, you see it. I have 10 clients coming in every week. It feels great. This is my schedule. This is where I've slotted them in my schedule. It's great. Guess what? Now, what's the one thing you did just before that to get those 10 clients? And it's not, oh, I got 9 clients. No, you saw your schedule. It wasn't maybe not the day before, but what was the thing that happened to know that you had success in that goal? Okay, write that down. What was the thing that happened before that? You're going to reverse engineer your goals so that you get back to today. Now you have evidence that this is what you have evidence. So as these things happen, you put it out to the universe. Universe, I am living in this idea that I am making, $1,000 a week. It's you're living in it, you're attracting it, and it's going to happen. It's like a baby learning to walk. Babies crawl around. They watch all the people. They have legs. They don't identify the word leg because they haven't learned to talk yet, but they see pictures. All of a sudden, their brain sees them, their mind. They're walking in their mind, but they're crawling on the floor. All of a sudden now their body goes, wait, we have to match what's going on up here. The body is going to start matching, and children, babies start to walk. So if you're thinking it so much so, you can think negatively. I'm going to have cancer. People who are in misery. You just keep thinking that misery, your body is going to react to it, and you're going to be sick. Well, let's think of healthy. There's evidence, Paul. I've got only about another minute or so. There's evidence, scientific proof. There's a guy that had no hip. The doctor's like, there's nothing there. So for I don't know how many months, he just imagined a gas nozzle at his hip, pouring bone out of it into his hip. They couldn't understand why all of a sudden he had bone where bone wasn't there. Your body can heal itself. We don't grow limbs again when we've been amputated. No one's ever done it, but it doesn't mean we can't.
I got one more question.
Okay.
What is the difference, or is it the same thing, between meditating and praying?
Praying, I think they're the same thing. Well, kind of. An actual meditation, if you're going to meditate, you're clearing the mind, you're clearing the emotions just to clear it. You're letting them go through you. Praying, you're actually having a communication with your higher source or your higher self. You're going to, in praying that communication. That to me also works with law of attraction. You're bringing that positivity in, and the more positivity you bring in, the more you're going to get back, and attraction starts to happen. It just starts to happen. I have a wonderful program that I teach for free. Again, Success is Not by Accident, the Mental Brain Program, and I teach you all about this. I even draw pictures. How just 5 minutes a day, prosperity, happiness, and success. You can have a great relationship. You can have money in the bank. You can double your income and your success. That homeless man on the street, he's successful right where he's at in his success. It's just that's where he's at. Will change your life script. If you've worked this well with your old life script, how well do you think you can work with a new life script? It's just one day at a time.
Wow. You know what? Again, it's been a pleasure.
Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. You know what? You've answered a lot of questions for myself and a lot of the audience.
I have had a great time.
I appreciate your time and your passion towards your trade, and the people that you help, I'm sure, are appreciative as well.
I love it. Thank you, Paul. And
you are welcome. Enjoy.
I thank you all for being here again. And I want to thank you again for coming on my show. I'm going to have you back in a couple of weeks. It's always a treat to have you. And and I think he's coming back. I think we've scheduled it for October 14th. As the 2-part series of this. We'll come up with some good stuff. We also didn't even touch on NLP yet. We didn't touch on MER, mental emotional release technique, or the release technique. So there's a lot of timeline therapy. There's a lot of things still to work on. I want to give you a quick shout out again to Patty B. Thank you for your motivating suggestive comments. I love it, and you're awesome. And I just want to also let you know next week, the great Glenn Rotman, hypnotherapist, stage hypnotist. We're going to learn the difference between the two. Thank you all for being here. Have an amazing weekend ahead. And this is Ilah with Most Things Hypnosis. I'll see you next week. Take care now. Bye.